All right, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another rousing edition of Cliff's Kayfabe Campfire. We've got logs on the fire. It's a crackling. We're over here in the barn studio, and for the first time ever on the show, we've lived long enough to get a first. For the first time ever, we have a phone call guest. Probably going to be having a lot more of these, so get used to it. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time, like the other, three at this point, he's also from my home federation, United Wrestling Entertainment, UWE. Like them on Facebook, find them online on YouTube, based in Central Louisiana, and also the UWE Academy. We're going to be getting into talking about that as well. Feel like we haven't really touched on where to find it and stuff enough. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time, the amazing Austin Andrews. Austin, can you hear me, brother?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Awesome. Well, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of upset that you chose Eddie over me.
Well, look, man. See, I knew the egos were going to be a flashing when this thing got to start. He's got the belt. And he's got a big title defense coming up. So,
You know what?
logic tells you kind of go to the gold.
Well, I had a belt once, too, until my so-called partner lost them for us.
Well, yeah.
Matter of fact, we took them off of you, didn't we?
And literally the same you can't preach to the choir, son. The same thing happened to me. The only reason you got that tag team belt was because my partner screwed me.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
There's nothing to see. You can watch the tape. Now available on 365 Pro Wrestling Network. Shameless plug. If you got a Roku TV, you can watch that match. Look up UWE on 365 Pro Wrestling Network, and you can see live from Columbia, Louisiana. I say live. I got to quit saying that. Taped from Columbia, Louisiana last summer. Me and Austin Andrews, the man on the phone right now, we tangled in a little tag team title match. I'm former tag team champion. I said last episode with Jake Fury. We didn't last that long, but hey, we lasted long enough to get belts, right? And I do want to say, as much as a little arrogant thing you can be, you're kind of like one of those bad stallion horses. You just got to take them out there and break them a few times. But as bad as you can be, I will say I enjoyed that match. And I enjoyed working somebody in their own hometown, man. That was a first for me.
Yeah.
That was cool. I guess let's go ahead and start with that, man. Talk about, first of all, before we even get into that, before we get into me fighting you in your hometown in a tag title match, let's start at the beginning, I guess. Tell us about Austin Andrews. Where are you from? What do you do? And how'd you get into pro wrestling? How'd it start?
Well, let's see. Austin Andrews is a kid at heart.
Aren't we
They
all?
grew up watching wrestling. They wanted to be a wrestler. I'm from Winsboro, Louisiana. And, there's not a lot that comes from that town, so I'm going to represent it as best as I can. But, yeah, I came from Winsboro. I grew up watching wrestling. I wanted to be a wrestler all my life. And, I had a little backyard thing I did. That was just to kind of get ready for everything, I guess.
Me and Storms actually said on his interview, we were, we mentioned backyard wrestling, and I said something kind of derogatory, and then I real quickly come and said, now look, we've all done it. You can't show me a wrestler that hasn't done a little bit of it, but from what I understand, you did more than just, taking bumps on a mattress. You had like a full-blown ring that y'all built and all that.
Yeah, I did, and we was Facebook Live and everything.
Okay, well that's like upscale backyard. That's like some actual effort being put in. Okay.
And so I did that for a little bit, and I was scrolling across Facebook one day,
mm-hmm.
and UWE popped up on the Facebook page.
Oh yeah.
And I started following it, and I seen that they had open tryouts at one of the shows in November, and so I went and was waiting for the ring to be set up. I did my tryouts.
I was there.
Coach liked what he seen.
I remember that day.
Yeah. The rest is history from there.
I often like to aim some of this at people that may be listening that are interested, like me and you once were, and want to be more than just thinkers, want to be doers. if you live near a school that's also a little promotion and stuff like that, and they do their open tryout day, a lot of them do that. A lot of them have tryouts. A lot of people have these false ideas of what they're walking into. I blame, the movies and stuff. People that don't really, watch wrestling, and all they have to go off of is like the movies about wrestling and stuff, like those goofy ones with like the Big Show in it and stuff.
Yeah.
So like they think that like you go to the tryout, you do good, you're on the show that night. It's like that's not.
Oh no.
Yeah. So like realistically, when you go to a wrestling tryout, what you're really doing is the school is seeing if you have anything that's gonna make it. Well, first of all, seeing who's interested, but also seeing like, are you gonna be a liability? Like do you have bad knees from a past job or something? Can you do this?
You're definitely going to run the ropes, and you're going to take some bumps and see if you're not scared to take some bumps.
Yeah, I mean that's about all it is. And then if you pass, you get offered to pay up your money and join. So that's about what it is. So the day Drew comes in, we're sitting there waiting, and again, it's one of those road name things. Andrews, we just shorten it to Drew. Makes it a lot easier to call him across the locker room. So, you'll probably hear us call him that. But anyways, Drew comes bebopping up in there and hops up in the ring, and look decently in shape enough. And then he mentions backyard, and we're like, oh God. For my thoughts on that, listen to episode 1. And I'm just like, all right, well, let's get it over with. Boom, 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 hits those ropes. Looks like AJ Styles in there. Bam, takes a big back bump. And the coach just kind of looks at him and goes, you're sure you never, went through a school? And he's like, yeah, man. And he's like, take a front bump. And, front bumps are the ballsy ones. That's the ones you really got to take a deep breath and think about it first. Boom. Like, dude, you were like Peter Griffin in Family Guy. Just fell on your face. And then he popped right back up, and we're just like, he's in? Hey. And then we get to talking to him, and, he was pretty cool, or at least he was at the time. And we were just like, hey, yeah, he's in. And so, like Eddie Love, my last guest, like X Storms, a lot of guys just kind of come in already kind of with the mind of it, already put together. That doesn't happen all the time, but
it don't happen a lot.
But I think we can both agree, me and you both, just because we kind of blew through that basic course and started working shows, we still got a lot to go. And wrestling is one of those things to where you can dominate at your school and go as high as you can. Well, then you go on to another territory because you'll be, little fish, big pond over there, start growing again. So, so me and you've kind of both started hitting the road, sometimes together, hitting the territory scene down here in Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi area.
And Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. Yeah, shout out to them. I've talked about them in the last episode too. Hay Barn have some things going on that I think everybody may be interested in. I had a hardcore tournament. Now, it wasn't a death match thing. Kind of be wary of that. But death match wrestling isn't what I would call wrestling.
I wouldn't call that either.
Yeah, but X Storms was actually featured in a hardcore championship tournament here recently. That's pretty cool. I actually heard that another one of our UWE guys, I'm going to keep him nameless, just because I'm not going to completely embarrass him, but he rides out there to Arkansas from Louisiana with X Storms just as his ride, in case you need anything and all that. And also X doesn't have a vehicle and at the moment. And he leaves his gear. The guy that didn't work left his gear. Can you believe this?
Yeah, I can believe it.
I mean, but can you believe the fact that a pro wrestler leaves his gear? I mean, first of all, I'm just impressed that this forgetful dude remembered it, because that's like that's like a code of indie wrestling. You always hang on to your gear. You always keep it with you. You always bring it with you.
And you always bring it with you. Yeah, always.
Yeah. So we got step A right. It's just step B somewhere. I mean, how do you leave your gear? I mean, wrestling gear is expensive. Good wrestling gear, anyway. We'll get into that here in a minute.
I spent a good $200 on mine.
Yeah. We'll get into that here in just a second. But anyways, this poor dude had to drive all the way back to Arkansas just to get a bag, because we got a show next weekend for Hurricane Pro in Beaumont, Texas. So,
Yep.
I mean, you
And a
very well
battle
can't.
royal.
And I'm thinking, like, okay, and then another problem. You don't have backup gear? Who doesn't have backup gear, you know?
Yeah.
See, he's going to get his wrestler card revoked if I revealed his name, so I'm going to do him a service. Anyway, let me get comfortable here. All right, so you blow through the tryouts, you start working. Before we get into the gear situation, because you do have some good gear, and I do want to talk about kind of breaking that forbidden door, if you will, on like, hey, wrestling gear's cool. I wonder where it comes from. Do they just have like these magical genies back there that just make it for them? I don't know. So we'll get into the world of wrestling gear here in a minute. But your first match as a pro, no disrespect, but okay, maybe.
Oh, no, thank you.
Maybe just a tad. I'm just kidding. But no disrespect. But as a true pro in the ring, in front of a paying audience with a license, in front of a licensed event and all that, your first match was for a championship. Did you kind of feel like how'd you feel going into that? And by that I mean, like, did you feel like you were worth it, or did you feel like maybe they were putting a little too much in you too soon, too much faith in you? Did you? I mean, what was the mindset? Your very first match as a licensed pro. I mean, forget all the backyard matches. You're 0-0, and you're competing against the champion.
All right, well, let's see. I'm going to be honest. I was as nervous as you could possibly be.
Did you puke?
What is it?
Did you puke?
No, I wanted, but I didn't.
I didn't on
but
my
yeah,
first either.
I was nervous going into it, and as soon as my music hit and I walked through the curtain, like, all nerves went away.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's just a different feeling when you hear your music hit and you walk through the curtain. Everything goes away. Now, as far as too much pressure on me, nah, baby, I'm a diamond.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't feel like there was too much pressure on me. I knew what I was getting into. I knew that they trusted me to carry the match with X. And so I went out there, did what I did best, put on an amazing show. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure we had that fight. And, I just did what I did best and show up and show out. Unfortunately, I didn't get the win that night.
And I'll tell you what else is
unfortunate. As far as I'm concerned, I won.
I was going to say, you did. You showed everybody that a no-name, unknown guy that just got his, license and all that can show up and put on a main event caliber match right out of the box, and that was huge. So you did. You won, even though your hand wasn't raised at the end. And I was going to say, you know what else is a shame about that is that was one of those earlier UW shows where we hadn't quite figured out what we were going to do as far as streaming goes, and we had cameras to tape things with, but we didn't quite have the media setup that we do now. So like that match there is kind of lost. Like it's it was one of those you just had to be there to see it kind of things. There's no tape of it. So that was like one of those there's great pictures of it, and documentation of that, so and cell phone clips, fan and family photos on the iPhone. There's things to remember it by, but as far as like being able to find it online and watch the whole thing, it's one of those like a WWE house show. Like you just had to be there to see it.
You just had to be there. Yeah.
So that was a hell of a debut, man. And you already had some great gear when you came out. Where does where does one find good gear? Of course, I know the answer, but tell our people, where does one get started, and what do you look for to distinguish between trash and high shelf quality?
Well, if you're first starting out like I was, I would suggest going to elucha.com is where I got my stuff, and they have some pretty decent gear over there. I would say it's good quality. It's not overpriced, and they got long tights, biker short, trunks, kick pads, knee pads, you name it.
And
that's where I went and found my gear.
You know what a lot of people do to piggyback on that is, eLucha's great, but they're not a custom site, which means a lot of their stuff is kind of one size, well, not one size fits all, but it's like they have their designs, they have their color schemes, and there you go. So it's like you have tights A, B, C, D, E, and F. So a lot of people.
No, they actually do have customizable.
Oh, okay. So some of them are all right. Yeah. Well,
yeah, you can make a custom order.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
The couple times I've shopped on there, I've noticed they kind of have like some that I've seen multiple different wrestlers wear on social media and stuff because a lot of people get lazy with it. But what I have seen some people do is they'll buy from eLucha, and then maybe find a local business or a friend that knows what they're doing or something, and go have somebody just put the logos or whatever you need on there too to make it stand out. So you see, you got to start with a good base, what I'm saying. Get you just a good set of wrestling tights from somewhere like eLucha, and then, just to get started. And then as you start coming into a gimmick and figuring out what you're going to do, what you're going to be, if you will, and then, then add on to those with a good, if you can, local business embroiderer or somebody like that. That's kind of what I do. I go with black Muay Thai warm-ups, actually, is what I started in. They were just flat black. I kind of went with the Stone Cold route, and, he did just the plain black trunks. Well, I do it with long pants. And then, of course, my cowboy boots, that's the main attraction. We don't want to take away from that. Sometimes I'll do the flat blacks, and then, sometimes I get like some white vinyl, sport vinyl, get stuck on there. I kind of experiment with that.
And let me just say this. There's nothing wrong with going to Amazon and finding you something until you get your other gear in.
Are you kidding me? Amazon is like, third biggest country in the world, man. It's they got everything on Amazon. I mean, it's scary. It's scary, the things you can find on there. So, yeah, there's no shame in going to Amazon. We actually wrestled with a fellow one time that he found a vendor on Amazon that was pretty speedy and made pretty good quality ties. They were just basic, almost like leggings, but a little thicker, a little more rugged. And he'd put those on, and he would have like what Rick Rude used to do. If he was going into like a title match or a feud, he would have a pair of custom tights made with and like he would get online and make him like a cool poster or graphic of them two on it and have it put on the tights. And I'm thinking, like, dude, I mean, if you got it like that, if you got money to just be buying tights like that for an indie show that's not even getting like simulcasted out over on a stream. Now, like if you're streaming that, a lot of people's going to see it. Yeah, like a lot of people outside, just the ones that are there.
Yeah, most definitely.
But hey, dedication. I mean, I'm not hating on it. That's cool. But I mean, sometimes when you find those little honey holes on Amazon, you can get real creative and stuff like that. But there's gear to be found. Knee pads, elbow pads. That's important. What do you use? Why do you use it?
Well, I use the ones on the eLucha. They are pretty great. They're thick, They're not too thick, but they're just right. And they're only like $29 plus tax.
Plus tax. Well, you see, with me, I started off with like basketball pads just because, well, hell, I mean, you don't wear that when you're doing a rodeo or anything. You don't put knee pads on. So, football you do, but like that's kind of sewn into the pants. That's a little different, So I'd never worn them. I didn't know what I needed, So I just go get like the basketball. And those things are like paper thin because it's made for like accidental falls on the court. You are intentionally
And I will
falling.
say this. When you're starting out, it's going to be hard to stand apart from everybody because wrestlers are just alike. It's going to be hard to find something that's not just like somebody else.
Yes.
But you got to make it your own style.
Absolutely. If that means, if all you can find is the basic black elbow pads, like every wrestler ever, well, maybe figure out how bad do I really need an elbow pad on both arms. Maybe just wear one.
And I only wear the one.
Yeah, you see.
I wear it on my right because my right is the main arm that I use.
I knew a guy one time that had digital camo tights. Like, they were Under Armour brand. And, of course, nobody wants to go out there with Under Armour or Nike on unless it's part of your gimmick because, then it looks like, oh, he just bought that at Academy. So he would, like, tape up the Under Armour symbol. Well, a bunch of people started doing the camo thing. What did he do? He just turned them inside out. And then they were just like these cool gray tights with black seams running through them. And it worked. And so, sometimes it's as simple as just like, while you're in the locker room, just, what I think I'm going to do tonight? And just flip it around. I've made that call before with a few things. It's like, in fact, I think you were with me one time, and we were doing a little show somewhere in East Texas, and I was just like, Drew.
Yeah.
I was like, Drew, do I go aviators? No aviators. Glasses? No glasses. And you were like, I'd put them on. All right, cool. And then I think you actually filmed that match for me on my phone. So, of course.
Yeah, I did. It was one of those things where we got the call last minute, headed out to Texas, and had a show.
That's the beauty of the business, and that's the beauty of being an indie fan too. Sometimes you could be very pleasantly surprised. You go to one of these small town shows and they could just like get some really just banging talent that just showed up on that doorstep that day. Sometimes you could, and so for the measly price of like $10-15, whatever they charge, so a lot of times it's no more than a high school football game, to get in, and you could be seeing $60 worth of like TV quality entertainment from some cat that just was like, I'll fill in, I'll do the spot, and go in there and take the match and then figure out who his opponent is and go try to win. So that's that was pretty cool for us to just kind of get called last minute. Son, look, let's do a little road story here real quick before we move on. Let's just talk about. We're not going to name the promotion, anything like. We're not the business of burying here, but we are going to talk bad about it. Okay. All right. So first of all,
I got you. I know where this is going.
First of all, when a promoter says, "Hey, I need a guy," and you're young in the business, you get work where you can. And this trip learned us, if you will, to actually research the people reaching out to you to see, because you could get burned. We get out there, and first of all, we're looking for a venue. There's nothing there. We're thinking, crap, bad address. We call the guy, and he's like, no, man, it's outdoors. It's at a flea market. And I'm thinking, okay, that's a little quirky, but cool. Texas, I'm thinking maybe it's one of those big flea markets, because I know that I've used to run a booth a time or two over there in Canton, Texas, and so I'm thinking like a miniaturized itty bitty Canton. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to be on concrete outside.
Yeah, and so I'm like, there's going to be food trucks. There's going to be maybe some terrible acoustic cover band or something. I don't know. It's going to be cool. Maybe a car show in the background. Somebody's house, and I'm thinking this can't be right. And then we see a wrestling ring. I was thinking the same thing. And then we see a freaking wrestling ring. And granted, Drew's not in the vehicle with me. And so they pull up, like, I think y'all got there a little after me. And then I get over there.
Oh, no. Cowboy, I was there with you. I was driving.
Oh, my God. Man, I've slept since then. You were in the vehicle. Oh, yeah, you were the one driving. That was a rough weekend, guys. Anyways, we get there, we see a wrestling ring in the background. We're just like, what's going on with this? And then the promoter comes walking up, and he's like, all right, Heel's over there, Baby's over there, and points to 2 pop-up camping tents, ladies and gentlemen. We can't make this up. Drew, you want to take it from there?
I cannot. I'm sitting there thinking, this is a joke.
Well, then we ask, who's working who? And so he shows us the bracket for the night. And we go, and then they say there's going to be some boxing before the pro wrestling. I'm like, game on. All right, let's see these boys go. I go look at the boxers. It looks like these 2 guys just got out of an 18-wheeler and just got done hauling in from wherever, like the typical truck stop overalls eating a sloppy Joe mutton chops. I'm just like, all right, well, grizzly bear fight. Let's get it. Okay, they might be out of shape, but maybe we'll see a knockout. Dude,
Yeah, maybe, but it was terrible.
first of all, these boys can't fight. I don't know what they did. We ever find out what they were swinging at? Because I don't think it was each other.
No, we never did.
I think it ended in a KO. The first one did, and the guy, like, obviously it was a work, man. I mean, the guy was laying on the ground, acting me. I mean, I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with that, but it was pretty stupid. It was like rigged boxing, but very terribly rigged, and it's not even like there was a lot of money on the table. So why would you rig a boxing match when that's why they're rigged, you know? So anyway, then we had our show. I worked a guy that just didn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, and the whole time we're driving back, we're like, well, I mean, we had fun, right? We got to work. I got to whip ass. Y'all whipped ass, but oh my God, I felt like I needed a shower. Oh, and the best part, there was a battle royal at the end. You remember that? And
Yeah, there was.
And you remember that time, or that part where I'll go ahead and let you tell the people. This what we call in the business a true shoot broke out, and a shoot is like, somebody from the crowd, something crazy is going on, something out of the ordinary is happening here. And
yeah, well, at first it started off as a work. We were working the guy that you had worked earlier, and it turned into an actual shoot. From one of the fans came up, and they got in each other's faces, pushing, and one
even
thing
on
led
the
to
indies,
another. Next thing I know, this guy's on the ground in a headlock.
Yeah. Like, even on the indies, you don't mess with the talent. You don't try to get involved. You don't break any of that off. And so next thing we know, this guy's on the ground in a headlock, and we're thinking, okay, who's this guy? Is he a worker? We didn't see him. And then we hear this lady saying, "Get the F off my property. I'm calling the cops. Show's over." And then so at that point, I'm scattering. I'm like, okay, where's my hat? Where's my necklace? Where's my vest? Where's my Garth Brooks CD? Where's all of that? We got to get out of here. And then Drew, I think you're over here by the car. Austin Andrews is over here in my car, I think, already, and he's like, "I'm way ahead of you, boss." Like, And so he gets the Cadillac fired up, and then I go run over to the promoter. I'm like, "Hey, we need our money. We got to go." And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna run to the ATM." And I'm like, "You probably should have done that like before the show, but man, not that I got anything to hide, but I really don't want to be here for an episode of Cops." Okay.
Yeah.
So we got out of there like just in time, like as the white trash dumpster fire ignited, and then we laughed about it at a Waffle House. So one of my favorite road stories so far in the young career there. Look, Drew,
the great way to end the night is eat Waffle House every time.
Oh yeah, and what's that spot you always hit when you work in the Beaumont area, like Nashville something?
What is it? What spot is it?
And like, what's that spot that you hit when you work the Beaumont area in Texas and all that? Was it like Nashville chicken or something like that?
No, it's close to it's Twin Peaks, I think. It might be something like that.
Twin Peaks? No, son. I'm talking. Wait, it's like Nashville Hot, I believe, is where y'all used to go.
Maybe. It's been a while since I've been over there.
Well, look, I'll tell you, Twin Peaks does make a mean pot roast. Twin Peaks is fantastic. But I'll tell you, I always rode with this one guy when we would work the Texas area that just he was like he was 18 all the time. Like he'd never like been late before. He's like, "Man, we got to go to Twin Peaks." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not really in the mood to we're about to wrestle in 30 minutes. Like, can I just go get a burger and get in the corner? Like, chill." So, some people never grew past the fact that the shorts are, oftentimes shorter than lines at the men's room. So anyway, talk to me now about something. Your first championship win as a professional wrestler. You dethroned me and my partner, Jake Fury. We were going through some issues that night. The show was booked in your hometown. It was a double shot weekend. We had just worked a brewery show that actually me and Eddie talked about on the last episode, where
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make that show.
yeah, most of us were pulling a double shot. You were coming in fresh. You had teamed with a guy that you'd never teamed with before, so we'll talk about that. And
That was the very first night we teamed together.
yeah, so tell me about your ex partner and what brought that meeting on, and how'd you get in the running for the title?
Well, we're gonna have to backtrack to Texas, where me and you teamed actually
I remember that.
against the debuting Royal Pain.
Yes, the current champions in the UWE.
Well, and I picked up the victory that night between me and you, and I guess that's the scene that I got the victory over a tag team, and they was like, "Hey, here's HD. He doesn't have nobody. Let's team y'all up." And y'all
It was
go
a
for the
random
title
pairing.
team.
Yeah, it looked like they were trying to create some tag teams for the division to grow. Well, man, I remember teaming with you before we were competitors. We actually had to be partners. You had wrestled earlier in the night. A lot of wrestlers do this, guys. It's called working twice. You fought Ruthless Devontae Adams. He actually got one over on you and beat you.
My neck was actually injured at the beginning of the show.
Well, son, be careful. What you doing not wearing your seatbelt?
Look, it wasn't a seatbelt, sir. It was a match. I was not in a car.
Oh, all I do
He threw
is
me
work.
back. I landed on the back of my neck, okay?
Oh, I forgot. What are you, like a wrestler or something, man? Oh.
Yeah, yes, sir, I am.
Yeah. Wow, no, don't whip my ass. Anyway, I was under the impression that since I'm the tag team champion with Jake Fury, surely we're going to be in action together, correct? I'd heard talks of there being a tag team match that night against the newly formed Royal Pain, Prince Fontenot, and Ruthless Adams. Ruthless was willing to work twice, and I'm just like, okay. Well, I guess me and Fury is going to go out there and handle business. I mean, we're the tag team champions. I don't see why they'd fight the champions right out of the bat, but I don't see no other tag teams here. Come to find out, my partner decides to compete in a heavyweight title match instead of working twice. I mean, I'm sorry. You want to win 2 belts, you got to defend both. I mean that's part of the deal.
I agree with that statement. I mean, he was world champ, tag team champ. You got to defend both.
That's part of the deal, dadgummit. So my manager at the time, the warden, he's quite the old fella, but, he was resourceful. I kind of just, realized, why am I paying you again? That's how it is with managers in wrestling, guys. Like, they escort you to the ring, they help you win, they help get the crowd behind you, If you're the bad guy, they cheat. If you're the good guy, they're the hype man. But sometimes you just have to ask yourself, why are you here? But while he was still with me, he found Andrews in the back. He agreed to work twice. We go in there, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy's about half damaged. But I'll tell you, dude, you took a beating in that one, and you did not fold. And I was impressed, man. You were scrap ironing that one. You finally get the tag in. I go in, cleaning house. I'm like John Wayne riding in on the scene in the Western where the good guy wins. I come in there and clean house. Tag him back in. He hits his finish, 1, 2, 3, and I was like, okay, well, this guy knows what's up. Of course, I knew that from your debut. Fast forward, I didn't know they were going to do what they did. You're competing against me. And I'll tell you, I will to this day say I did not lose that match. Jake Fury decided to really show his ass.
I will today say that you did lose that match. Now, listen, Cowboy, I got a lot of respect for you. I got a lot of respect for you, but I do not like you. I cannot stand you.
Oh, well, that's not what I've been hearing this whole time, but go on.
Listen, it's because I'm on this podcast. I'm nice to you. You should be thanking me that I'm even on here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right. You should be thanking me. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't even be calling this Clifford's or Cowboys podcast. You should be calling it Austin Andrews podcast.
Yeah. Says the guy that's not even here and on the phone remotely right now. Look, son, you were a nobody from a small town that used to roll around in the yard against your cousins and your brothers and your uncles and your sisters, okay? It wasn't until you got in there with me that you got real gold. Now, can we agree on that?
I tell you what, we can agree on. 1, 2, 3 in your winner, Austin Andrews, when I beat you to the tag team title.
Yeah. And oh, wow. Technical difficulties. Yeah. Hey, let's just make sure he's still there. Let's see if we can get him on the line here. Oh, no. Okay, well, sorry, folks. Looks like the old asshole alert went off and we had to get him out of here. We'll see you for another episode of Cliff's Kayfabe Campfire. When we see you, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Follow the UWE on Facebook and like the UWE Academy. Okay, you want to be a pro wrestler, go check them out. Also, don't forget about Hurricane Pro with shows coming up on November 19th in Beaumont, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, Tombstone.